Hey guys, this is Betsy Veldman for Paper Tray Ink, and it's time again for another Make It Monday challenge. This week I'm going to show you how to add texture to your stamped images using a very basic household item. So let's get started. Alright, like I mentioned, we need a basic household item, and that item is a comb. It's just a basic comb, narrow teeth on one end, wider teeth on the other. Probably have one in your drawer. If not, you can pick it up anywhere, Walmart, grocery store, even wherever. Now this technique is going to work the best with solid images stamps. Something more basic that doesn't have a lot of pattern to it, just solid images. I'm going to show you a few different variations of this technique, and the first one here I'm going to ink up this large leaf image from Turning a New Leaf. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to add some texture. I'm going to take the comb and I'm going to use the wider teeth, the wider end. Just going to brush across, rotate it, and brush again. Just do it really quick. Don't hesitate. Just go for it. And it'll create, you can see here when I stamp it, it's going to create kind of a cross-hatched texture. Really fun, super easy. So let's do that again. I'm going to clean off my comb because I'm going to change ink colors. This time I'm taking Pure Poppy ink and I'm going to ink up a small flower from the Mini Bloom set. Once again, swipe, turn, swipe. And then just go ahead and stamp, and you can see that texture come through. Kind of fun. There's a few different variations. This gives you a cross-hatched effect. But you can also create kind of more of an ikat pattern. And I'm going to show you how to do that with this diamond stamp. This is a diamond from A Little Argyle, and this time I'm again using the wide tooth comb, and I'm just going to swipe across several times in the same direction. And you can see how I rotated it, kind of just gets it a little more even. And you can see how that almost gives you more of a sketchy kind of look. Kind of similar to Miley's new sketched shapes stamp set that she came out with a few weeks ago. That look is really hot right now, so this is kind of a fun way to get that look with just about any stamp in your collection. Alright, now for this third technique, I'm going to show you, it's almost a cross between the two techniques. We're going to do sort of the cross hatching like we did the first time, but we're going to do it multiple times, kind of like we did the second time with the diamond. You can see how I swiped across several times one direction and then rotated it and swiped across several times again. And this again creates more of a sketchy look, but also incorporates kind of that cross hatching. Alright, so let's put this technique to use in creating a card for today's project. I'm going to be using two different size diamond stamps. These are from the A Little Argyle set. And I also have a bunch of different ink colors here. I have kind of two shades of each color. I have Harvest Gold and Summer Sunrise, Melonberry and Canyon Clay, Berry Sorbet and Pure Poppy, Aqua Mist and Hawaiian Shores, and then Soft Stone and Smoky Shadow. Alright, and I also have a 4" by 5 1/4" piece of Stamper Select white cardstock. And I'm going to start off with Harvest Gold ink, and I'm going to just make sure my comb is cleaned off here from our previous stamping. So alright, we'll just go ahead. I'm going to ink up the larger of the two diamonds using Harvest Gold, and then I'm going to use the technique that I showed you, the middle technique, where I just brushed across the stamp multiple times in the same direction. And then I'm going to just go ahead and stamp that. Start off our diamond pattern kind of in the center of our card. Alright, and you're also going to want to be very careful to clean your stamp in between when you're changing colors. Because of that, we are brushing that ink off with the comb. It tends to kind of gather around the edges. So just make sure you're doing a really good job of cleaning your stamp in between colors. Alright, so now I have Berry Sorbet, and I'm just inking it again and then going over it with the comb. Same technique as before. And again, just brushing off my comb. You'll want to use just a dry paper towel for your comb. I found that if I wiped it off with a wet wipe, like I clean my stamps off with, the moisture kind of clings to the comb, and it makes the lines, when you're trying to remove that ink, it makes the lines a little more blurred and not as crisp looking. So just keep it dry. Just use a dry paper towel to wipe off the excess ink on the comb. I'm just going to continue building the diamond pattern here. This time I'm going to use soft stone. And again, here I'm just brush across there. And you can see now I rotate my stamp. That's because I feel like I have kind of a heavy hand with the comb at the point where I start brushing across. So I found that if I turned my stamp and then also brushed it from the other direction, starting at the other end of the diamond, going the same direction, I got a more even looking texture. So you can hear, I'll just brush over it, rotate it, and brush over it again. That gave me a little bit more of an even effect. You can see the pattern that we're building here almost resembles kind of an ikat pattern. That trend is so hot right now. Sketchy shapes, the ikat patterns, those sort of things are just really hot right now. This technique kind of lets you get that effect with just about any stamp in your stamp collection. Okay, so we're done building our pattern, and now I'm going to take the smaller diamond and I'm going to fill in the centers of the diamonds the larger diamonds that we just finished stamping. And I'm going to again use that same technique. This technique is very forgiving. If you mess up with the comb, just go ahead and re-ink it. Just put it back in your ink pad and start over. I showed you the coordinating ink colors at the beginning. When I started my stamping, I mentioned I had kind of 2 shades of each color. I'm going back in now with the smaller diamond and using the darker shade of each of the 2 colors. So here I'm using Pure Poppy over the top of my Berry Sorbet. And then lastly, I'm going to fill in over the top of my soft stone diamonds with smoky shadow ink. And I'm going to stamp it off once before stamping it onto my project, just because I feel like the smoky shadow is so much darker than the soft stone. I want to soften it up a little bit. So you can stamp it off either before you do your texturing or after. It really doesn't matter. Get the same effect either way. Alright, so our background stamping is finished, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a sentiment. This is Thanks So Much from the Embroider Bloom set, and I'm going to ink up the larger thanks word with some Hawaiian shores, and I'll just kind of center that off to the right here and stamp it over the top of our background. And then I'm going to take my smoky shadow and ink up the so much portion of the sentiment and stamp that right underneath the thanks. Alright, so that is it for the stamping. Then I'm just going to take some enamel dots and add some of those, a few here and there, just as an accent. Then our front panel is finished, and I'm going to adhere that to a very sorbet card base. This is just a standard 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. And I'm going to adhere our panel with some foam tape, just for a little extra dimension to pop it up a little bit. And there our card is finished. It's just a very easy way to add a little texture to your images, kind of change them up a little bit, and create something a little different. So I can't wait to see your guys' take on this technique, and who knows what you might come up with. Have fun with it, and we'll see you here next week. Thanks for watching. This has been Betsy Veldman for Paper Tray Ink.